Hello and welcome back to Warcraft Daily for today the 24th of March 2014. So first of all, I have a little bit of an announcement thingy to make. Basically, tomorrow will mark the first year of me being on YouTube, and to celebrate the whole thing, I'll be doing a live stream. It will kick off at 5 PM GMT, in and around 5 PM anyway, which works out at being 10 AM PTT and 1 PM EDT. Now, I know that's pretty early for the Americans, but the good news is the live stream will go on for quite a while. I'm going for at least 6 hours, but that could very much end up being 10 or 12 or maybe a bit longer, so it should be a lot of fun. Be sure to come and stop by. With Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls coming out, I may play a little bit of that, but mainly it'll be World of Warcraft. I'll hopefully be doing some flex with some, not subscribers, with viewers. The same goes for LFR and, I know, dungeons, PvP, leveling my druid, doing mount runs, all that stuff. So it should be a whole bunch of fun, so, I don't know, set your alarms or whatever. Okay, so let's get into the actual news for today. So first of all, we have a Garrison Resource bit of talk. Basically on Twitter, Jeremy Friesel, who's the main Garrisons guy, said the Garrisons are going to have their own resource and that there will be more information on it soon. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is something they've already mentioned at BlizzCon, but with it being, 4 or 5 months since BlizzCon, it's definitely worth hearing them say things again, because a lot of things do end up changing with the iterative design process that most of these companies have. So I'm pretty sure that this is just going to be a resource that is also in combination with, like, the main just in-game gold mechanic. I think that would make the most sense. Then I'd also just imagine that we would get the resource passively from, like, resource gathering buildings in our garrison, then actively from garrison related quests in our main, and then follower missions. Now, those garrison related quests are not things that have been confirmed or Blizzard even talked about, but honestly, I think it would be a great idea if there was some sort of quest chain or something that your main could do that was related to your garrison. I think they definitely need to add something like that so it doesn't end up being a Facebook game inside World of Warcraft, so hopefully that will happen. But overall, Garrisons are looking very interesting, and I think that still, like, keeping gold in the mix is the right choice, because if Garrisons were 100% isolated from main, just the in-game's main economy, then it would just mean that they'd be ultra kind of not pointless, but their use would be sort of diminished in a way. So I think that having gold tied in there does make a good deal of sense, and of course you will be able to make gold from these as well, I'd imagine. Alright, so next on Twitter, they said that they will be breaking some catch-up mechanics to professions in Warlords of Draenor. This was said by Whom, who is one of the profession designers over there, and he basically said that this catch-up mechanic will be tied in with a gated resource. So this basically means there will be a resource which you can make like X times per day, which can then be used to level up your profession. I think that makes a lot of sense, and honestly, it's definitely needed. There are some professions which are just absurd to level up. I remember when I was doing enchanting, and the price of, I think it was Hypnotic Dust, the Cataclysm one, was like 15 gold per dust, and I needed about 400 or 500 of the stuff. It was absolutely crazy. There are a lot of problems like that, and with things like the level 90 boost and just people using heirlooms to get through all of these old zones faster, we don't see as much old world resources appear in the game. I think, no, 1 to 60 resources we probably see a decent amount, but especially, say, Cataclysm ones, we just don't see that much. The prices are crazy, and if you're a new player that wants to level up enchanting or something, you just can't, in some cases, because you won't be able to afford it. It will just be completely cost prohibitive. So, yeah, honestly, a very good change, and I can't wait to hear more about it. Alright, so next they said that chat will be coming to the Battle.net application soon. Of course, that's probably going to be a Blizzard soon, but it's still very good. Basically, they said that they were going to have it enabled before the Reaper of Souls launch, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, they had to delay it to ensure stability. Still though, chat would be fantastic, but I think there's another 1 or 2 things they could add. There should definitely be in-game notifications that are tied in with this. And what I mean is that, say if you're queuing for LFR or Dungeon or something like that, well, maybe it's going to take 10 minutes, and you'll perhaps want to Alt-Tab and do something else. Now, for me, it's okay. I've got dual monitors, so it's not much of an issue. I'll be able to see on my main window when my LFR queue is popped. But if you're not in that case, you don't have dual monitors, and maybe you're browsing Reddit or something, and of course Reddit will be on top of World of Warcraft. Well, maybe you don't want to have noise activated in the background, because that can be extremely annoying, especially if you want to watch a YouTube video. So what they should do is just add in desktop notifications. So if your LFR queue pops, then a thing just appears on your desktop that says, hey, your queue's popped, click this button to go in-game and get into your raid. I think that would be a fantastic feature that would really just provide a lot of convenience to people. A lot of stuff in World of Warcraft is based on a queue, and I think that is unfortunate, but if that is to be the case, then they really should just add something like this into the Battle.net client. I think by having this one all-encompassing client being, I don't know, a thing in existence, they can definitely do a lot of little, I guess, value-added services or just convenience things outside of the main game's functionality that should be able to help people out. Alright, so next, there are some interesting graphs that basically show patch duration. Now, this was stuff I found via Bashiok's Twitter, but it was very interesting. So I'll put these up on the screen, but the first one is about the length of major patches. I think the most interesting thing to see is, at least so far, the relative length of the various expansions, with Wrath of the Lich King actually being by far the longest, and Cataclysm even being longer than the Burning Crusade, and then for the original game, of course, being very long, nearly 800 days in fact. Very interesting, actually. And when we look at the actual overall patch durations, well, you can definitely see Mists of Pandaria up until Siege of Orgrimmar did a very good job. The patches were coming very quickly. Absolutely, I think a very good thing. But overall, personally, what I think matters the most is how well spaced out they are. I would have rather had all of Mist's patches be maybe a month longer, and then 5.4 be a little bit more balanced in terms of how long it lasts, but whatever, that things have panned out the way they have. And then it's really funny just looking back at Wrath of the Lich King and just how long Siege of Orgrimmar was. I mean, the thing was basically like 300 days old. That's a very long raid tier. Yeah, it's lots of interesting stuff. And then I think another interesting thing about Wrath is when you just look at how short Ulduar is, that's really sad. Ulduar was one of the best raids in the game, and it was also one of the shortest tiers. I think the Burning Crusade in general had a pretty good kind of spread, but then of course the final tier ended up being a little bit longer than usual. Still though, with Mists of Pandaria, I think we're definitely shaping up for Siege of Orgrimmar to be one of the longest raid tiers we've ever had. It came out at the end of September, and the new expansion is, bottom limit, probably going to come out in September. It will be a solid year long, which I believe is actually longer than... that's actually longer than Icecrown Citadel. Wow, that's certainly a thing. At least we've... Well, see, Icecrown Citadel was sort of balanced out by the fact they put in Hallion, though Hallion didn't particularly matter, if we're honest. At least that we have had the new PvP season and things like that happen. Still, though, it's interesting looking at major patches and that kind of thing. Alright, so the next graph is the length of the actual raid tiers, which is sort of interesting. I think if we look at Mists of Pandaria, we see that they've all, so far, just been very much the same in terms of the length. Though, of course, that will increase quite a lot when we actually take into account how long Siege of Orgrimmar will last. It's kind of interesting, actually, looking at Cataclysm. The first tier of Cataclysm lasted, or the first raid tier at least, really did last a lot longer than the second. Sort of bizarre, that, but I suppose it's because of patch 4.1. Still, though, looking around the place, things seem to make a relative amount of sense. I think overall raid tiers should be pretty balanced out in terms of how long they are. And with Mists, they did a good job with tier 1 and tier 2, but if you look at how long Siege of Orgrimmar may last when they include the Warlords of Draenor beta period, it's going to be a long tier. It's probably going to be longer than Cataclysm, that's for sure. So, yeah, interesting stuff, but I just thought I'd show those graphs because, hey, people love information and they love graphs, and honestly, I don't blame them. Alright, so to round off the show, we have 2 tweets from the Blues, and by the way, sorry about today's show not really being as long and full of interesting things. It's kind of out of my control. There hasn't been a great deal of World of Warcraft news, honestly. And, well, just in general, but specifically this weekend, with the Diablo 3 pre-launch weekend happening and, things like that. It's just, there's not a great deal going on with World of Warcraft. Hopefully, though, that will change. I'm sure that once Reaper of Souls calms down a little bit, they'll be jumping, fully back into the kind of World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor hype train. Anyway, so, let's just get these tweets over with. First of all, we have had it confirmed that the pet cap will be staying at level 25. They don't want you to level all of your old pets again, and there will be new pets to level, and then new trainer challenges in the expansion. I think that is a little bit of a pity, honestly. Like, with the new expansion coming, usually what happens is caps go up with various things, and that still would have provided gameplay to some people, and would have been a little bit of a difference, because right now when we move into Warlords of Draenor, well, if you already have a bunch of level 25 pets and you're happy with your current team, there's no particular incentive to level up again. I know that I'm happy enough with my current crop of level 25, so I probably would have dabbled in it if the cap had went up to 30, but now that I know it won't, the chances of me going into pet battles at the launch of the expansion, maybe not as much. Still though, for the people who are really into pet battles, absolutely, you'll have new pets to level up, all these new trainer challenges and things like that, so I suppose it'll be okay for its main target demographic, but for me personally, I would have liked some more levels or something like that. Alright, so finally, we have a tweet from Lore, who said that there are no plans to make the moats or spirits of harmony account-wide. Now this is actually something I'd like to talk about. I think this is one of the major crafting blunders that they made in Mists. I think the idea of just having moats that you could farm off mobs or do whatever with was a great idea that started off in the Burning Crusade, and it stayed throughout all the subsequent expansions until Mists of Pandaria, and I just think that it was a really shitty decision. It had its own economy, and it meant that a player who didn't have any trade professions or anything like that could at least go and make some money in a reliable fashion, and they killed that. It's just, I don't like how they murdered that thing off. Honestly, they should just allow these to be sold on the auction house. They should be account wide. They should just be a regular crafting material, because you know what? That's what they are. They are a crafting material. They should be trade. They should be up for trade and, you know, all that stuff. I just think it would be better for the in-game economy, and it would give people a little bit more of just opportunities or variation in terms of what they farm. Yeah, it seems like they really did kill off a lot of things, especially if you're someone who enjoys crafting and you enjoy playing the auction house, or just, you know, thinking to yourself, alright, well, here's a chest piece and I just want to make that and sell it. Well, you can't. You have to go and first farm something. You have to farm for your crafting profession instead of buying it. That is cutting off gameplay for the people who enjoyed making money via farming some of those mobs. It really is a pity, and I hope that in Warlords of Draenor, whatever version of moats that we have will first be the more traditional system of being, like a different moat for a different element, but more importantly, that they will be available to buy, sell, and trade, because I think that would be very, very, very good, and it would just lead to a more healthy economy. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, thank you for watching the show. Unfortunately, that's really the end of it. There's not a great deal that's went on. Be sure to watch out for that live stream tomorrow. Honestly, if you are awake tomorrow, then chances are the live stream will be on at some point of your waking day, so woohoo, it'll be fun. Anyway, that's it for the show. You can check out my Twitch stream, Twitter, all those various things. Actually, Twitter is probably the best place to know when the live stream goes live, because I'll be talking about it there. Anyway, that's it for the show. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.